Hello one and all, welcome back to yet another movie review, and this time I shall be reviewing Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which is the 8th Mission Impossible film in the Mission Impossible series, or by some, the last film. Also, we may think, because Tom Cruise would really like to continue these, but Chris McQuarrie, the director himself, would like to stop. And personally, I would say end the series because we'll get to it anyway. Of course, it stars the remaining cast from the previous film, Dead Reckoning. And this will contain no spoilers, so this is going to be a completely spoiler-free guy, so do not worry. You're safe. So, Ethan Hunt and the IMF team race against time to find the entity, a rogue artificial intelligence that can destroy mankind. And if you guys have seen my playlist of Mission Impossible reviews, Mission Impossible is, simply put, I love these movies. Like, whenever Fallout came out, it literally became my favourite film series. I think overall it's just a great series. The second one's not great, but you know what? It does have aspects that I like about it. But every single other film in the series I love. The first film was a great suspense thriller. Third one had the best villain, had really kicked off the action. And Ghost Protocol really kicked off the big landmarks, like, for example, the big tall building. Then Rogue Nation, of course, started off Christopher McQuarrie's directing. Fallout is one of my favourite movies. It's, simply put, an action movie that, honestly, I don't think any other action movie in the future can top it, because Mission Impossible Fallout is that good. Like, this is probably, I think it is the best action movie of this current century, as far as I'm concerned. And Dead Reckoning, which was called Dead Reckoning Part 1, but due to title disagreements, it's just called Dead Reckoning now, I thought was an excellent 7th film in the series. And so I was really looking forward to The Final Reckoning, which is technically Part 2, because it's a continuation. And I think overall, The Final Reckoning was pretty good. Unfortunately, it's not like a fantastic Mission Impossible film, I'm afraid. But, of course, we've got some pros here. Still has everything you love within Mission Impossible. Of course, Tom Cruise, playing Ethan Hunt, can still run, doing all the things that you've seen in Mission Impossible. The stunts work. The stunts are amazing. From the tall building to the helicopter scene to the dive from the motorbike through onto the train, and with diving to the submarine, and of course on on 2 planes, which you've probably seen in the trailers of Final Reckoning. Of course, all the other cast members are great. I mean, Haley Atwell, the new sort of main female character who plays Grace, thought she was excellent here. Pom Klementieff prizing her role as Paris from Dead Reckoning. Of course, seeing the remaining other 2 characters from the IMF, Luther, played by Ving Rhames, and of course Benji, played by Simon Pegg, and of course the remaining villain, Gabriel. And I think overall everybody does a pretty good job as their characters. Unfortunately, my big problem with The Final Reckoning is the first act. It really kind of struggles, and it's kind of off the mark when it comes to being a really great Mission Impossible movie. Because the first film, 3 to 7, were all just amazing. Unfortunately, though, the first act of The Final Reckoning just did not feel like that to me. And yes, I do understand, because it's sort of doing dialogue and, of course, sort of recapping what happened in the past, But once it gets to the main bits, it really does get going. The submarine scene and the plane scenes are all still fantastic, none of the less. And I think the biggest issue for a while in the Mission Impossible series is the villains. The third film was by far the best. Philip Seymour Hoffman really killed it in third film. In Fallout, Henry Cavill, of course, was excellent. Sean Harris, who's in Rogue Nation, of course, returned in Fallout. He was solid. But overall, the majority of the villains have either not been so great, and unfortunately, Gabriel kind of leans in that territory for me. And probably my only complaint in Dead Reckoning is that he was just kind of too much of a yeller when he kind of loses. Ethan! Like, is that all you've got, really? And so, unfortunately, he didn't really stick out to me personally. And you know, this can definitely please fans. I can definitely see people loving this. I mean, and some people may not like it as well because of the first act. I mean, it kind of takes a while to get through. But then again, if you're a Mission Impossible fan, you will of course get this movie anyway. But if you're someone who doesn't care, then you know, you might have a different taste. But overall, I think Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is a pretty good Mission Impossible film with some amazing stuff. The stunts, acting, you know, the action. It's well made and it's well directed, I think, anyway. Just unfortunately, to me, it's the weakest of the Christian McQuarrie Mission Impossible films. But I can definitely say it is better than Mission Impossible 2, even though Mission Impossible 2 I don't hate either, because it's at least okay. With The Final Reckoning, it's at least good, I think, anyway. Just not a really, really great Mission Impossible film, I'm afraid. But it's not like Rise of Skywalker, where that movie is really bad, or Deathly Hallows Part 2, where that is actually a satisfying conclusion to a franchise. Final Reckoning is at least good, you know, even though it kind of doesn't, at times, to me, it kind of didn't feel like it was fully continuing off Dead Reckoning, even though it is still technically a continuation. There were just aspects, plus they didn't have the same composing team from Dead Reckoning as well as Fallout. And also the way Tom Cruise is, which I'm not against either. But then again, this is a part 2 of Dead Reckoning, even though it's now called The Final Reckoning. But it is what it is, though. But I will still, of course, recommend you guys go see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. It is worth seeing on the big screen, you know, because it's definitely better than a lot of action movies that you get nowadays, because the filming team are doing real things here. You know, they're not using green screen or CGI. It's actually all practical, and that's what action movies should be. And Mission Impossible series in general is a good prime example on that. And so overall, guys, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, although unfortunately it's not the best Mission Impossible film, but that's fine. It's still nonetheless a very good finale to, I guess, the Reckoning saga if they decide to continue on the Mission Impossible series. But I thought overall, acting, you know, action and stunt works still all there. You know, it has everything you want from a Mission Impossible movie. Just unfortunately, the villain and the first half of the movie kind of lacked. But there you go, guys. That was my review on Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. So comment down below, let me know what you guys think of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Let me know below in the comments. Let's have a great discussion down there. And before I end the video, guys, I have a very important update and announcement. It's going to be a big change within the next 2 months, so I'll do that in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. But as always, if you're new, please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and notify that bell before you leave. If you're new, please feel free to do all those things. But if you're a returner, welcome back, and hope you're enjoying my content so far. And as always, until my next video, I shall see you then, and peace.